He is a member of the Golden State Warriors. He is a four-time champion. He is a finals MVP. He is a two-time league MVP. He is an eight-time All-Star. He is the all-time leader in threes. He is a member of the 75th anniversary team. He is the founder of the Underrated Golf Tour. He is Steph Curry. Steph, it is great to have you back in the jungle. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate the introduction. That sounded amazing.
There he is. You do. You sound great, Steph. It's great to have you. So, look, I know you're on your way to the parade. Obviously, you've been a part of championship parades in the past. But when you consider everything that this team has been through since 2019, how good and maybe how different is this parade going to feel to you?
It's going to be special because, like you said, we've from 2017, 2018, that run we had was amazing, and it was built on like our core. Obviously, KD, some amazing talent and some amazing work that we put in. But when you come off the last 2 years that we've had with injuries, Clay, myself, adding some new guys that have so much potential, but are trying to figure out, what it means to be successful in this league and impact winning, and how far a playoff run, let alone a championship, felt 2 years ago. To have gotten back to the mountaintop is special. Like we've changed buildings. We're in San Francisco now. A lot has changed since our last championship, and a lot of work has gone into it. So it's going to be a worthy celebration through the streets of San Francisco today, and I'm excited about it.
I love it. Steph Curry joining us before that parade. Hey, Steph, I know you're not going to make it about you, but when I look at your situation, you are a two-time league MVP. You've played at an elite level for years, but coming off this series against Boston, where they threw everything they had at you, and they still couldn't stop you, does it feel like maybe this is the best you've ever played?
I always say I'm still in my prime and feel like I can always get better, and that's always the motivation. And when it comes out the way it did through this playoff run, and especially in the finals, and then you add the context of the situation and everything I kind of explained of us trying to come back and reach the mountaintop again, all that adds to the experience and the sense of pride of the work that I put in and the results. So definitely feel like all things considered, this is the best basketball that I've played, and it means a lot to help lead the charge in terms of when you're trying to win championships, you understand how difficult it is and all the adversity you have to overcome. And like you said, we played an amazing Boston Celtics team that had a number one defense in the league, and really tested us. And we found a way to kind of persevere and get through. And I was happy I was pretty consistent throughout the whole finals.
Steph Curry is joining us before the parade. Steph, I have to admit, I've been laughing about how Clay and Draymond have been reminding everybody about the things that the other players and media figures have been tweeting about and said about you guys over the last year and before that. You had even glossed yourself, quote, the petty king. At the same time, you never, ever publicly bash any other players. So let me ask you this. Do you maybe just take mental notes, and do you use that as fuel? Is that something you personally feed off of?
You have to, because it's a part of the nature of the business that we're in. There's so much, spotlight and scrutiny and criticism and praise that goes into, every single day of the year, even if it's in season, off season. It seems like there's always some commentary going on around the league, and especially when you have experts that are giving their opinions on who we are as a team and what we're capable of, and nobody believes that you can be successful, you can be a championship contender, and all that type of stuff. And all those opinions are, I think, colored with a lot of different flair and dramatics. We always feed off it. I don't really respond to it in the moment, but you hear everything, and you carry it. And I think for me, that's why I had so much emotion coming out, after the horn came out of Game 6, because I knew all the talk around us. I knew how hard it was for us to get back here, and on top of that, you have so many people that are just throwing so much shade at you along the way, and that's definitely motivation for sure.
We were talking to Steph Curry. Steph, when you lay that out, and I saw that emotion, I think everybody did, and you've talked about this journey, so you start to get a sense of why this means so much to you. As you look back, obviously you've evolved greatly. Everybody does. Well, hopefully everybody does. But how different are you now compared to when you won that first title? What's been the biggest change for you over the years?
I mean, just an awareness of, one, as you get older, doing what you do and the sacrifice it takes, the amount of work that you have to put in on a daily basis, all that stuff matters, and it's so important to trying to stay as consistent as possible individually. To do what I need to do out there on the court. So there's an understanding of what it takes there, but it's also just an awareness of, maintaining our championship DNA. I said that a lot this year in terms of, me, Draymond, Clay, Andre, Kevon Looney, guys that have been on the stage before. We understand what it takes, but you have to be able to pass that knowledge off, to the young guys that are going to be out there, playing significant minutes and meaningful games. And the awareness and, I guess, the way that you can make that as approachable as possible and give them as much confidence as possible, as they're going through these experiences for the first time, that, they test your leadership on a daily basis. And that's as important as what you do on the court, because you have to have guys, 1 through 15, everybody has to be ready, especially the way that we play. So to be able to run that back and recreate that with this group is something that, myself, Draymond, Clay will remember for a long time, because I think that the awareness and the perspective that we've gained over these years, it all matters.
We're talking to Steph Curry. Steph, I'm glad you brought up the championship DNA, because you have been talking about that, and you just mentioned how important it is to pass it along to the younger guys. But could you describe and define what it is exactly? When you talk about championship DNA, what do you mean?
When you go through that first run, I think when you look back at 14, 15, you have so much confidence, and I'm borderline stubbornness, because you haven't, accomplished it before, but you're trying to manifest it for the first time, and then you look up and say, oh, we just won that championship, and it's an amazing feeling. But when you have that confidence and you build on that every single year, you understand the details of, okay, regular season game 28, we're playing, the 13th ranked or team in the Western Conference, whoever that is. You might win that game, but can you actually be, accountable to yourself on, or did the way that we played tonight, is that going to lead to success in the playoffs? And that's the standard that you carry every single day and how we measure ourselves. But you only know that unless you've gone through it before. So we've carried that, through all the highs and lows of these last, 7 years. And I think, the respect that comes with what we say and how we say it and when we say it, these young guys, they really respond to it because they know we've been there before. So all that matters. And then the last thing is this, when you get into that environment, in a hostile environment, in the finals in Boston, game 3 and 4, the crowd's into it. We've been in those environments before, and we know how to handle it, and we know how to respond. And, we've won 27, or we won a road game in 27 straight series, which is one of those records that might never be broken because of how hard it is to win on the road in the playoffs.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. It's an insane number. That is an insane stat to me. Steph Curry joining me for a few more moments. Now, Steph, there's so many things, obviously, it's out of your control. So I'm curious about this. Bob Myers was on the show a few weeks back, and we talked about June of 2019. And that's when the team lost in the finals. Clay got hurt. Kevin Durant left shortly thereafter. At that point, you're obviously forever optimistic, but there are so many things out of your control. Was there ever any time where you thought to yourself, man, it's been a hell of a run, but the era is over?
I'll probably say right after I broke my hand in the 2019-2020 season. We were 5 games in. Clay was still out with his ACL injury. Draymond had some bumps and bruises. I break my hand. I'm out 4 months. That was when I felt the most removed from not only the team, but just the road to, becoming a relevant team again. You're dealing with rehabs. You're your whole routine is kind of shook up in terms of practices and games, and just even being part of the group. So at that point, that's where you feel the most detached, and you realize the road is going to be long and hard. But I think everything from that one game I came back right before the pandemic hit, and I played one game against Toronto after I finished my hand rehab. That lit the fire for me individually for the next 2.5 years to get back to this point where you understand we have enough. It's just a matter, can we get healthy? Can we get everybody back on the floor and maintain I hate to keep using it, but maintain that championship DNA and that culture that we've built with how we do things on a daily basis. And then you just got to trust that process and that journey. Because like you said, there's the only things you can't control, and you don't know how it's going to end up. But thankfully, it all worked out for us.
So clearly, Steph, I know you definitely want to enjoy this. I understand that, and maybe on some level it hasn't even sunk in yet. But in terms of journey, you and Draymond have welcomed everybody back to the Warriors Invitational, which is great. When you look at the talent on the roster, are you already thinking about a fifth ring and maybe even more? Like, how long does this invitational last?
I mean, I've already started to kind of imagine when you add a healthy James Wiseman, you try to bring everybody that played a key role in our success this year, bring them back. We got, like you said, Bob Myers has done an amazing job putting a competitive team, the right pieces together. I know we have some decisions on extensions and signings and stuff like that, but all those decisions are made a lot easier when you win. And so, hopefully we have a good summer on that front. We can retool. And like you said, I think Andrew Wiggins said it, and I love that it came from him, knowing, his journey, and now that he's stamped and he's a champ now. Even yesterday in his media availability, he said, we can be even better next year. And that hasn't been something that we've all talked about as a group. It's just individually we all can feel that this is an amazing accomplishment, but we have an opportunity to kind of run it back and continue to dominate. So I'm going to do everything in our power to make that a reality too.
Hey, Steph, one last question. Since you mentioned Wiggins, I want to ask you, it seems like everybody in that locker room wanted to win a title, but it seems like everybody wanted to win a title for somebody else. It seems like you guys wanted to win for Clay because of everything he had been through. You wanted to win for Draymond because of the crap he takes. You wanted to win for Wiggins because he's never gotten this far, and they wanted to win for you because of the love and respect they have for you. How would you sum up this culture that you mentioned and the attitude in that locker room? If you can leave me with that thought.
It's a credit to Coach Kerr, first and foremost. When he first took the job, he understood what type of group he was taking over. That was me, Clay, Draymond, coming into our prime, really taking the next step as that championship core that could figure it out. And then he came in with such humility that he wanted to unlock us something in us that could help us get to the next level. But it was about the players. It was about the guys in the locker room and how all the pieces fit. And that's been the messaging ever since. Every year we run it back. He does an amazing job of communicating with the roster from top to bottom on. It takes everybody to win at this level. Whether you're playing 40 minutes or whether you're playing 2 minutes or anywhere in between, like you are a part of that process. And I think everybody really believes that. And me, Clay, and Draymond try to embody that, every day that we go out there and hoop. And so when you get guys like Wiggins, guys like Jordan Poole, guys like Otto Porter and Nemanja Bjelica, and they come in and they hear that message, they get empowered by that, and then hopefully the results follow. So there's a selfless attitude amongst everybody because we understand that it's not just about one person. I mean, everybody has to do their job and play their role and do it to the best of their ability. And when you do that, good things happen.
Seems to me that's summed up perfectly. He's a 4-time champ, a Finals MVP, a 2-time league MVP, an 8-time All-Star, all-time leader in threes, member of that 75th anniversary team, and getting ready for the parade. Steph, what can I say? I know you got a big, big day in front of you. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you starting your day with us. Great to have you back in the jungle, Steph, and congrats on the win. Really good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Steph. Steph Curry. Where do I even start with that? Prior to the parade, kicking off Smack Off Week, busting open the show open, the legend Steph Curry